Hey everyone, it's John here from MCKAY Hockey, back with another video, and this video is on the Toronto Maple Leafs lineup prediction for the 2021-2022 season. So I'm going to give you my predictions on the starting lineup, how I see them going forward into the season, power play, penalty kill, overall roster projections. So let me know what you think in the comments, of course. Drop a like, and welcome if you're a new subscriber. I hope you enjoy the content coming forward on this channel and all the live streams to come. So let's not waste any time. Let's get right into it, starting with what I think is going to be the lineup to start, which is Ritchie or Bunting on that top line with Matthews and Marner. Then Kerfoot with Tavares and Nylander. We saw some chemistry, I should say, with Kerfoot and Nylander in the playoffs. Bunting, Ritchie, so whichever one's not on the top line, on that third line with Kampf and Kasha, and on that fourth line, Mikheyev, Spezza, Simmons. Defense, Riley Brody, Muzzin Hall, Sandin with either Dermott and Liljegren, like one of those guys, and then Campbell and Mrazek as a tandem. So let's go into my opinion. So this is based on what I've heard, what I've seen, what I think is going to happen. This is what I think is probably going to happen, but it's kind of different than what I want. Like, what I want is a little bit of changing things up, not running it back, you know? And one of those things is Matthews and Marner. When it mattered in the playoffs, they did not show up together, especially Marner in support as a playmaker towards Matthews. And that's where I think you have to run it back. Nylander with Matthews potentially. And that's where I think, okay, so this lineup is solid. I think there's arguments to be made that the fourth line's not great. And I mean, Sandin, maybe he's better with one of the defensive defensemen. But I still think the lineup is good enough to make the playoffs. But this is what I want to see. I want to see Nick Robertson in the lineup. And he might not make it right away, but I want to see him in the lineup, whether it's a few games in or halfway through the season. Robertson, I think, is either almost ready or ready. And I think he could be a candidate for the Calder if he does make it. Maybe a long shot, but I think Robertson should be here, and that's where I go. Kerfoot with Nylander still. The potential is there with Matthews. So you have this Kerfoot and Nylander potential of big chemistry, and you put it with Austin Matthews. I think that's a top line right there. Then Robertson with Tavares and Marner. We know Marner's a season all-star, so he'll set up Robertson quite a bit. He'll also set up Tavares quite a bit. What would get Tavares going a little bit more? Mitch Marner, one of the better playmakers in the league in the season, and setting up Tavares a bunch, setting up Robertson a bunch. That, for me, is a legit top six. This is what I want to see. And then Ritchie, Kampf, Kasha, again, an argument to be made. The third line's not great, but if Ritchie can bounce back, if Kasha can stay healthy, and Kampf can produce a little bit more offense, that's a good energy plus shutdown plus just even a forechecking third line, right? Then Bunting, Spezza, Simmons, where I think Bunting has potential to move up in the lineup, as well as Spezza. Like, if you really wanted to make things interesting, boost Spezza. While I think Thornton was the wrong, I'll say this in simpler terms. I think Thornton was the wrong experiment to go into the top line. I think Spezza, if anything, he could be the guy that moves up in the lineup. So if you ever felt like Marner needs a shake-up or Kerfoot maybe needs a third line spot, I could see a scenario where you put Spezza on a line. This is a massive hot take. Put Spezza on the second line with Tavares and Robertson, for example. Then Marner, get him with like a defensive center like Kampf. I don't know. I'm just throwing ideas out there. I'm just saying, if it was a scenario where you need more depth or you need some more secondary scoring, shake things up a little bit. It doesn't always I hated it with Babcock. And I thought Keefe was a little different, but he showed me that in the playoffs, that he was just solid in how he kept the lines together. Yes, there was adversity. You lost a guy like John Tavares, but keeping Marner and Matthews throughout that whole series was just so freaking frustrating. It wasn't working for multiple games, and he kept it together. That's why I'm saying, if there's ever a game or two where it's not working, shake it up. Shake it up. So while I think Riley and Brody are great together, you could also shake it up. I could see a scenario where you could shift Riley. Riley's played on the right side before. Shift Riley to the right side, play him with Muzzin. Brody with Sandy, and they looked really good together. I still think, I know a lot of people say, oh, this guy doesn't like Justin Hall. I think Justin Hall and Travis Dermott could be a really solid third pairing. That's been my opinion in the past. I think if you really want to give Sandy an opportunity, I'm putting this there because I just don't think Keefe's going to do it. But if you really want to know how I feel in a hot take sense, Riley and Muzzin, or Sandin and Muzzin, because if Sandin plays the right side and plays well, then there you go. But I think you could see a scenario where, well, I don't know if we'll see the scenario, but it could work out where you put Riley on the right side with Jake Muzzin, and then Sandin with Brody, and then Dermott and Hall, who played a lot together with the Marlies. Like a lot together with the Marlies. So I think that would be a solid third pair, Dermott and Hall. I like that. I just don't know if Keefe's going to do it. I think Riley and Brody stay together. That's why I'm putting it like this, even in my scenario where this is what I want. And I'm fine enough with Muzzin and Hall together. I think Muzzin carries Hall quite a bit, but Hall's solid enough. And Sandin Dermott, if that's what you start with your third pair, it's not the worst thing ever. And then Campbell Mrazek, that's your tandem. There's no debate there. That's your tandem. So penalty killers, I mean, it can go in a bunch of directions, but it'll probably consist of David Kampf, Michael Bunting, Jason Spezza. I'm sure Richie or Simmons will get time on the penalty kill. Marner will get time on the penalty kill as he's been in the past. Tavares will get time on the penalty kill. Even Kerfoot could get time on the penalty kill depending on if he's on the power play. So there's a bunch of guys here that can spend time on the penalty kill. That's not a concern. And you have your defensemen that can play penalty kill minutes, and Brody, Muzzin, Hall, and even Riley. So you're fine for the penalty kill, I would say, for the most part, but it wasn't great last year, so penalty kill needs to improve. I think bringing in a guy like David Kampf is going to help a lot on that penalty kill and help on the faceoff dot if he keeps improving there. So let's look at power play, because the power play was the major issue for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Okay, this is my top unit, and the only thing that can change here for me is Nylander or Marner. I think Marner or Nylander, either way, can be on that top unit, and the other one be on the second unit with Matthews carrying over. I think Matthews needs to start playing a minute 45 on the power play consistently. He's your big-time scorer. We see McDavid and Draisaitl spending whole power plays together, full 2 minutes. Leave Matthews on for the minute 45 as your big-time player, your big-time shooter. Number one unit. Frickin' stick Richie right in front of the net. Big frame, massive. Keep him in front of the net. Let Matthews and Nylander just fire shots at him. He'll avoid it. And you have Tavares in that high slot, as he usually is, and then Riley at the top. Your second unit consists of Simmons potentially in front of the net. If Robertson makes the team on that second power play unit, you can have Matthews stay longer. If Robertson doesn't make the team, Spezza's in there, like Marner or Nylander again, whoever's not on the top unit on the second unit, then Rasmus Sandin, of course, on that second unit. I could also see a scenario where you see Muzzin sometimes spending time on the power play. So you want that shot. Riley sometimes doesn't offer that big time shot from the point, but having Matthews and Nylander on the wings, I think, helps a lot on there. And as you see, you have Matthews on the left side here and Nylander on the right and Marner on the right. I think you go back to that. I was actually watching a video and I've seen other people talk about it. I think you have to go back to that. That's probably one of the issues. I mean, you were so trying to think big. Oh, Matthews on his off hand, he could go for some big one-timers. But let's think about what Matthews has found success in. It's his small little toe drag. It's finding that left side space, winding up for a shot. It's harder to do that on the right side, and it's harder to protect the puck because you're having the puck on the inside. Yes, that can be seen as more of a threat, but it also can be seen as more of a struggle for a player like Matthews who wants that time with the puck, who wants that time to rip the puck. So I think Matthews on the left side, on his strong side, I think that's where you could find success. We need to get this power play back into a top 5 power play unit in the Leafs perspective. So let me know what you think on that side. Again, this is the lines that I think will happen, or at least the safe lineup, I think. This is what I want to see, I think. The only other scenario, again, I could see the defense shifting and maybe being a better scenario, and then I could still see them making a trade. I will talk about that in an upcoming video about a couple moves or a couple additions the Leafs could look at. I think one more addition in the forward group would really help. Having those options, like losing Tavares in the playoffs, you need those depth options, right? So if Spezza has to sit some nights, if Simmons has to sit some nights, if even like McKayev, I think McKayev or Engvall will still likely get traded. Like I didn't have Engvall. I barely talked about Engvall, or I didn't talk about him at all. So I think Engvall's not in this picture, right? And I barely have McKayev in this picture. If he does start on that fourth line and Robertson doesn't make it, McKayev will be a penalty killer as well. There's still a lot up for debate for the Leafs, but I think the scenario is McKayev, Engvall, maybe see you later. We'll see. Bring in someone else that's maybe a little bit more of a punch and offensive on that third line. I think it would help. So, again, let me know what you think. Hit that subscribe button, drop a like, leave your thoughts in the comment section. big defining year for the Leafs. If they can't get through that first round, if they can't move forward, like I feel like I've been saying the same thing over the last couple of years. They got to blow it up. I mean, I said it after this past disappointment. I mean, it can't just keep happening. So we're expecting something different from this Leafs team, and we'll see what we get come October and this season, and then come playoffs. So this was John from MCKAY. Have a good one, guys. Peace out.